Have you ever noticed how the quietest people in the room often carry the deepest wisdom? Why is it that after decades of life, some individuals naturally gravitate towards solitude, finding more joy in their own company than in crowded gatherings? Today we're exploring something truly fascinating, a truth that challenges everything our busy, connected world tells us about happiness and fulfillment. We're diving into 7 profound reasons why people who embrace solitude after 70 are often the wisest, most grounded souls you'll ever meet. Before we begin, I want you to understand something important. If you're over 70 and find yourself preferring quiet evenings at home to noisy social events, if you'd rather spend your morning with a cup of tea and your thoughts than at a crowded gathering, you're not lonely. You're not withdrawing from life. You're actually experiencing something beautiful, a form of enlightenment that only comes with age and accumulated wisdom. This isn't about isolation or loneliness. It's about consciously choosing peace, authenticity, and depth over the shallow noise that once seemed so important. Let's start with the first reason, and this one might surprise you. People who embrace solitude after 70 have reached a point where they no longer need validation from others. Think about your younger years for a moment. Remember how much energy you spent worrying about what others thought of you? The outfit you chose, the words you said at that dinner party, whether your neighbors approved of your choices. For decades, most of us lived with an invisible audience in our minds, constantly judging, constantly evaluating. We wore masks, played roles, said things we didn't mean, all to earn approval from people whose opinions, in hindsight, didn't matter nearly as much as we thought. But something profound happens as you move through your 70s. You begin to realize that other people's opinions are fleeting, temporary, and frankly, none of your business. You've lived long enough to see how quickly praise turns to criticism, how fickle public opinion can be, how people who once celebrated you can just as easily forget you. And in that realization comes an incredible freedom. You no longer feel the need to explain yourself, to justify your choices, to seek approval for how you live your life. You become comfortable in your own skin in a way that simply wasn't possible when you were younger. This isn't about becoming cold or disconnected. It's about authenticity. When you stop performing for others, you can finally be yourself completely and unapologetically. You can wear the comfortable clothes you love, not the ones that impress. You can speak your truth, not what others want to hear. You can spend your time in ways that nourish your soul, not in ways that look good on social media. This detachment from external validation is a form of wisdom that takes decades to develop, and those who achieve it often find their greatest peace in solitude, where they can simply be without pretense or performance. The second reason flows naturally from the first. People who choose solitude after 70 understand that peace is infinitely more valuable than popularity. In your younger years, you might have measured success by how many friends you had, how full your social calendar was, how often you were invited to events. There was an unspoken belief that a busy social life equaled a successful life. But here's what you've learned that younger people haven't yet discovered. Popularity is exhausting. Constantly maintaining relationships, attending events you don't enjoy, engaging in small talk that drains your energy, these things come at a tremendous cost. And that cost is your peace. After 70, you've accumulated enough life experience to recognize what truly matters. You've been to enough parties to know that most of them are forgettable. You've had enough surface-level friendships to know they pale in comparison to one or two deep, genuine connections. You've experienced enough drama, gossip, and social chaos to know it adds absolutely nothing positive to your life. So you make a conscious choice. You choose calm over chaos. You choose a quiet evening at home over a loud gathering where you'd have to shout to be heard. You choose solitude not because you're antisocial, but because you value your inner peace more than social approval. This is a radical act of self-love that many people never achieve. You're saying no to things that diminish you and yes to things that restore you. You're protecting your energy, guarding your peace, and refusing to let the world's noise disturb your hard-won tranquility. And here's the beautiful part. The people who truly matter, the ones who genuinely care about you, they understand. They respect your boundaries. They don't take your preference for solitude as a personal rejection. The ones who get offended, who demand your time and attention, they're revealing that they never truly valued you as a person, only what you could do for them. Let's move to the third reason, and this one touches on something precious that we all share regardless of age. People who embrace solitude after 70 understand that time is life's most precious currency. When you're young, time feels infinite. You waste it freely spending hours on meaningless activities, people who drain you, obligations that serve no real purpose. You say yes to everything because you believe you'll always have more time. But after 70, you know better. You've seen how quickly years pass. You've lost people you love. You've witnessed how fragile and finite life truly is. This awareness changes everything. You stop treating time as something to kill and start treating it as something sacred to protect. Every hour becomes valuable, every moment worth savoring. You ask yourself different questions before committing your time. Does this activity bring me joy? Does this person add value to my life? Will I look back on this hour with satisfaction or regret? These aren't selfish questions. They're wise ones. You're not being stingy with your time. You're being intentional. You're choosing to invest your remaining years in things that matter rather than squandering them on things that don't. Solitude becomes attractive because it's time that's truly yours. No one is making demands. No one is draining your energy. You can read that book you've been meaning to finish. You can sit in your garden and watch the birds. You can think, reflect, remember, dream. You can do nothing at all and not feel guilty about it. This isn't laziness or withdrawal. It's honoring the preciousness of time by spending it in ways that nourish rather than deplete you. Younger people often misunderstand this, seeing it as boring or sad. But you know the truth. There's a richness in stillness, a depth in quietude that busy people racing through life never discover. The fourth reason reveals another layer of wisdom that comes with age. People who prefer solitude after 70 no longer fear being misunderstood. Think about how much energy you've spent throughout your life trying to make people understand you. Explaining your choices, defending your decisions, justifying your feelings. It's exhausting, isn't it? You've probably had countless conversations where you tried to make someone see your perspective, only to realize they either couldn't or wouldn't. And at some point in your 70s, something clicks. You realize that not everyone needs to understand you. In fact, most people won't, and that's perfectly okay. This realization is liberating in ways that are hard to describe. You stop explaining yourself. You stop trying to convince people who are determined to misunderstand you. You stop caring whether others approve of your lifestyle choices. If someone thinks you're boring because you prefer reading to partying, that's their limitation, not yours. If someone judges you for choosing solitude, that reveals their own discomfort with being alone, not any flaw in you. You've reached a point where you understand that your worth isn't determined by others' comprehension of it. This freedom from the need to be understood makes solitude not just acceptable but preferable. When you're alone, you don't have to explain anything to anyone. You can simply be without justification or defense. You can make choices that seem strange to others without caring about their opinions. You can live according to your own values and rhythms without constant interference from people who think they know better. This isn't about becoming isolated or bitter. It's about recognizing that peace is more important than being understood, that your own approval matters more than anyone else's, and that true wisdom includes knowing when to stop explaining and simply live. The fifth reason touches on something profound about how we engage with the world. People who choose solitude after 70 prefer depth over distraction. Modern life is designed to keep us distracted. Constant notifications, endless entertainment options, social media feeds that never stop scrolling. Even social interactions have become more superficial, filled with small talk, gossip, and surface-level conversations that leave you feeling empty rather than fulfilled. But after 70, you've had enough shallow interactions to last a lifetime. You crave something deeper, something real. Solitude offers what crowded rooms often cannot: the opportunity for depth. Depth of thought, depth of feeling, depth of experience. When you're alone, you can read a book slowly, really absorbing its wisdom rather than skimming for the plot. You can listen to music and truly hear it, not just have it as background noise. You can think deeply about your life, your choices, your legacy without interruption. You can pray or meditate or simply sit in contemplation, experiences that require quiet and space. This preference for depth extends to your relationships as well. You'd rather have one meaningful conversation with someone who truly sees you than 10 superficial chats with acquaintances. You'd rather spend an afternoon with a close friend, really talking, really connecting, than attend a party where you'll exchange pleasantries with dozens of people you barely know. Quality has replaced quantity in every area of your life, and solitude is where you find the highest quality of experience. It's where you can be fully present, fully engaged, fully yourself without the constant pull of distraction that defines modern life. The sixth reason reveals a truth that takes most people a lifetime to learn. People who embrace solitude after 70 understand that peace is the real luxury. For decades, you might have chased other things: money, status, possessions, recognition. Society taught you that these were the markers of success, that accumulating more meant living better. But now, having lived through decades of acquisition and achievement, you know something that younger people haven't discovered yet. None of those things bring lasting satisfaction. The new car becomes ordinary, the bigger house needs more cleaning, the impressive title loses its shine, the possessions just become things you'll need to organize or eventually get rid of. What you can't buy, what no achievement can guarantee, what no possession can provide is peace. A calm mind, a tranquil heart, a life free from constant stress and worry. This is true luxury, and it's something you can only achieve by letting go of the endless pursuit of more. Solitude becomes attractive because it's where peace lives. When you're alone, you're not competing with anyone. You're not comparing yourself to others. You're not caught up in drama or conflict. You're simply existing in a state of calm acceptance. This doesn't mean you've given up on life or stopped caring about anything. It means you've finally understood what matters. Peace matters, contentment matters. The ability to sit quietly and feel satisfied with your life as it is that matters more than anything external you could acquire. Younger people often pity older adults who spend time alone, assuming they must be lonely or missing out. But the truth is exactly the opposite. You're not missing out. You found what everyone is searching for, but few discover genuine peace that doesn't depend on circumstances, other people, or external achievements. And you protect that peace by choosing solitude over chaos, quiet over noise, stillness over constant activity. Now we come to the seventh and perhaps most beautiful reason. People who prefer solitude after 70 have arrived at a profound understanding that life as it is right now is enough. This might be the hardest wisdom to achieve because it goes against everything our culture teaches. We're constantly told we need more, should want more, must strive for more. More success, more experiences, more possessions, more everything. But you've lived long enough to see through this lie. You've accumulated enough, achieved enough, experienced enough to know that the pursuit of more is endless and ultimately unsatisfying. Instead, you've learned something precious. Gratitude for what is, acceptance of what was, peace with what will be. You don't need to fill every moment with activity to feel alive. You don't need constant stimulation to feel engaged. You don't need to prove anything to anyone anymore. Life in its simple, ordinary moments has become enough. The morning light coming through your window enough. The taste of your coffee enough. The sound of rain, the feel of a warm blanket, the memory of loved ones enough. You've learned to find richness in simplicity, joy in ordinariness, contentment in the present moment. This doesn't mean you've stopped growing or learning or experiencing new things. It means you've stopped believing that happiness exists somewhere other than where you are right now. You've stopped postponing contentment until you achieve the next goal or acquire the next thing. You've learned to be present, fully present in your own life as it unfolds. And solitude is where this presence becomes most available. When you're alone, there's nothing to distract you from the miracle of simply being alive. No one is demanding your attention. No one is pulling you out of the moment. You can sit with yourself, with your life, with your memories and hopes and dreams, and feel genuinely satisfied. This final wisdom is what makes people who choose solitude after 70 seem so peaceful to others. They're not striving anymore. They're not proving anymore. They're not chasing anymore. They've arrived at a place of acceptance and gratitude that radiates outward, even in their quiet moments alone. They've discovered that the thing everyone searches for their entire lives, happiness, contentment, peace, has been available all along in the simple act of being present with yourself and accepting life as enough. So if you're over 70 and find yourself drawn to solitude, embrace it. You're not lonely. You're enlightened. You're not withdrawing. You're choosing wisely. You're not missing out. You found what matters. Your preference for quiet over noise, peace over popularity, depth over distraction, these aren't signs of aging or decline. They're signs of profound wisdom, hard-earned through decades of living, learning, and letting go of what never mattered in the first place. To our younger viewers, pay attention to the elders in your life who seem content in their solitude. They're not sad. They're not isolated. They're teaching you something invaluable if you're willing to learn. True happiness doesn't come from constant activity, social approval, or external achievement. It comes from knowing yourself, accepting yourself, and being at peace with the life you've lived and the person you've become. It comes from understanding that sometimes the wisest thing you can do is close the door, turn off the noise, and simply be with yourself in quiet gratitude. Now here's what I want you to do. If this message resonated with you, if you see yourself in these 7 reasons, leave a comment below sharing your experience with solitude. How has your relationship with alone time changed as you've got older? What have you discovered in the quiet moments that you never knew when your life was busier? Your wisdom could be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. And if you found value in this video, please share it with someone who might benefit from this message. Subscribe to our channel for more content that celebrates the wisdom of aging and honors the journey we're all on. Remember, choosing solitude after 70 isn't a retreat from life. It's an embrace of life's deepest truths. Thank you for spending this time with me today, and may you find peace in whatever form it takes in your own life.